Okay, this is a part B, continuous for free response questions. This section is no calculator is allowed for these questions. Right. Number three, the blades of the electric fan rotate in a clockwise direction, and they complete 5 rotation every second. So this one, they gave you information about to find out period. Point B is located right here. Is on the tip of the one of the fan blades, and it is located directly above the center of the fan at t equals 0. So t equals 0 is located there. As indicated in the figure, point B is 6 inches from the center of the fan. So this is 6 inches right here from the center. Okay, and then the center of the fan is 20 inches above the level table on which the fan sits. So, oops, from here to here, right? From the table, the bottom of the table up to the center of the fan, that should be set as 20 inches, right? So then that tip of this fan blade, it could be like highest point is 26, or lowest point is right here, which is a 20 minus 6 is a 14. Okay. And as the fan blades rotate at a constant speed, the distance between B, that point B, and surface of the table periodically decrease and increase. So that tells you it's a sinusoidal functions. That H models, that sinusoidal function H models the distance between B and surface of the table in inches as a function of time, second. Okay. All right. So A, the graph of H in here, it's a dashed middle line for 2 full cycles are shown. 5 points F, G, J, K, P are labeled on the graph, and no scale is indicated, and no X is presented. Determine possible coordinates for the 5 points of that. Okay. So, that description is when t equals 0, that's the highest point there. So I can say this one is like 0. When it's 0, the height, right? The total height up to here to the top of the table right here, that should be 26 in the beginning. So 0, 26 in the beginning. And then what it said is it'll complete 5 rotation every second. So how long it'll take to finish? So it'll take 1 second to finish 5 rotation, right? So which means basically 1/5 second is the period, right? 1/5. So it'll take 1/5 second to finish 1 rotation. That's what it meant. Okay, so that means from here to here, the period is 1/5, right? So you can say at P, point is also 1/5. Second later is also same height, which is 26. So you can find out coordinate of P first, right? And then right in the middle, so J should be half of that. So 1/5 of 1/2, which is 1/10. So 1/10. And then what is the minimum height? Minimum height is like tip of the blade is right here. So which is basically this height is then 20 minus 6, right? So which is a 14. So you can say that 1/10 and then 14. Okay. And then the half of that, so half of 110 is 120s, right? 120s. And it should be center line. Center line is just that 20 inches from the the top of the table. And then the other one then here, K should be then 1/10 plus 1/20, right? So then that's times 2 times 2. So 3/20, right? So that's the 3/20s, comma, the height is also same as G, which is 20. right? Okay, so I found all the possible coordinate. Okay, let's move on. Now b, the function h can be written as like this. But if you think about your graph is like starting from here all the way up to here, that's one period, that's a cosine. But they give you function sine. So you need to change like your graph like this, right? Or you can graph like this, and then you just flip it over. The a value is negative. But I choose it this way. Then what you have to do is from 0 here, you go negative 1 over 20s, and then start from here. Okay, that's a starting point, and one period is like that. So you can do, okay, first of all, what is A then? A is amplitude. Amplitude is clearly from the center line to the maximum point, which is 6, right? Just 6. And then 2 pi over b is a period, which is a period was 1 over 5 seconds, so 1 over 5, right? So when you cross multiply, so 10 pi equals to b, okay? So I got a and b value. Now, what is the c value? So like I said, this point here is a starting point for sine. So you go negative 1 over 20, right? Because this is a 0 here, the x point. So if you shift horizontal translate 1 over 20 is to the left, then instead of t, you put t plus 1 over 20. Remember that's the opposite sign. If you move to the left, then you have to do t plus 1 over 20 like that. So c itself is a 1 over 20. Okay, so I got a value and b value and c value. And now what is a d? D is a center line, right? Center line is obviously that was a 20 here, right? So that line here, that is y equals 20. So d value is a 20. Okay, so that's the final answer for B portion, A, B, C, D. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, that's correct answer. Now, next one, C, refer to the graph H in part A, and T coordinate of the K is a T1. Okay, T1 is then, let me label it. T1 is right here, right? That's a T1. That's the X coordinate of the point K. And then also X coordinate of the point P is a T2, which is right here. So that's a T1, T2. Okay. So on that interval, which of the following is true about H? Okay. What is true in here, right? So we know that H is then positive. Yeah, it's not negative. The height is a positive always, so negative doesn't make sense. And height is increasing, right? It's going up, so increasing. So answer is A. Okay, so A between T1, T2. So between the time 3 over 20 to 1 over 5th, the height is a positive and also increasing because it goes this way. Now, second one, on the interval T1, T2, on that interval, describe the concavity of the graph of H and determine whether the rate of change H is increasing or decreasing. Okay, so from here to here, that's a part of concave down, right? So we say here concave up and concave down. So we call this one is a point of inflection, right? So this one is here part of concave down. So you have to say, it said describe the concavity. So you have to say concave down, right? Now, and then second portion is that determine whether the rate of change is increasing or decreasing. Rate of change, what is the rate of change here? That's a slope, right? Slope is, what do you think? This one, it was like this, right? But keep decreasing, right? Keep decreasing. So rate of change, which is a slope, is a decreasing, okay? Decreasing. That's the answer for second one, okay? Let's move on. Now, number 4, so those are just direction. So let's read it here. A, the function g and h are given by like that. Okay. Now, first one, I rewrite g of x as a single natural logarithm without negative exponents in any part of the expression. Your result should be in the form of ln of something. Okay. So any coefficient for the ln, you can move it up. So it should be ln x cubed and minus, and then ln 1/2 also this one, you move it as exponent, right? So then ln x to the 1/2, right? Now when you subtract for ln, then you can just divide. That's one of the property. Ln x cubed over x 1/2. So which is what? Then ln, one of the exponent rule, when you divide, you subtract exponent, right? So x 3 minus 1/2, or you can say ln x to then 6 5/2. Okay, then I'm done. So this one is ln of that expression, and then I don't have any negative exponent, so that should be answered. Now second one, rewrite h of x as an expression. Cosine x appears once and then no other trigonometric functions involved. Okay, let's just simplify then this one. Okay, you have sine square on the top minus 1, and then bottom one is cosine x. So how you gonna change it, right? So sine square x, we know that one of the Pythagorean identities, which is a sine square x plus cosine square x equals 1. I want to memorize. It comes out on the test very often. And you have a 3 Pythagorean identities, right? So Pythagorean identities, right? Identities. So you have this, and then 1 plus tangent square x equals secant square, and then 1 plus cotangent square x is a cosecant square x. I want to memorize all of them, right? Even if you can derive it, but if you don't memorize it, you don't recognize it. So I want to memorize it. Okay, so how you gonna use it? One is in here, sine square x cosine square x, right? So instead of 1, I substitute sine square x plus cosine square x, right? And all over cosine x. Okay, so I know this one cancel out. Then you end up with, I don't have space there. So negative cosine square over cosine, right? Negative cosine square x over cosine x. Then when you reduce one of the cosine, then negative cosine x, right? So that's your final answer. So I have only one cosine x and then no other trigonometric functions as a result here. So that should be okay for your final answer. Now B, the function j and k are given by jx like that and kx like that. All right. So first portion, solve jx equals 0 for values of x on the interval 0 and 2 pi. Okay. So you substitute this one equal 0 and then solve for x. So first step is the cosine x, you factor it out. And 2 sine x minus 1 equals 0, right? And then when you set each factor equal 0, then cosine x equals 0 and sine x equals 1/2, right? So cosine x is 0, that means pi half, which is including, so that's okay. And sine x is 1/2, so that's a 60. No, so 30 degrees, so pi over 6, right? And then it's only one quadrant 1, so only those two. So those are your final answer for I. Now second one, solve kx equals 3e for values of x in the domain k. Okay, let's put it. I don't have much space, but I'm gonna solve it here. 3e equals, you put it 3e here, so 8 times e to the 3x minus e, right? And then you add e both sides, so 4e equals 8 e to the 3x. Okay, now you divide by let's say 8 both sides. Then 1/2 e equals e to the 3x. Now you divide by e both sides. Then you get 1/2. And then e to the 3x minus 1. You just subtract exponent, right? If you divide. Okay, how you going to solve for x here? Take ln both sides. So I'm going to take ln both sides. Then ln 1/2 equals, ln e is cancels out. So 3x minus 1. And then you add 1 divided by 3, right? So ln 1/2 plus 1 over 3 will be your final x. Okay, you can put it this way, but in the answer key they put it 1 minus ln 2 over 3. But that's basically the same thing, because 2 is 2 to the negative 1/2, and then negative 1 you take in the front, so it'll be negative ln 2, right? So which is you can, if you switch with 1, then 1 minus ln 2. So either this way or this way also correct. All right, now let's move on to C. The function m is given by mx equals cosine 2x plus 4. And find all input values in the domain of m that yields output of 9 over 2. Okay, so it said output value of 9 over 2. So instead of m of x, you put in 9 over 2 on the left-hand side, right? And cosine 2x plus 4. Remember, we don't have any domain given. So that means you need to find out general solution in terms of like n. Okay, we'll get to that soon. Now, when you subtract 4 both sides, so that's a 1/2 cosine 2x, right? That's the first step. Now, 2x equals, what value, what angle is a cosine is 1/2? So if you think about, all students take calculus, so either cosine is a positive, either quadrant 1 or quadrant 4, right? And then 1/2 value is cosine 60 degrees pi over 3. So that's a pi over 3 plus 2n pi, and it's integer, right? Or if it's a quadrant 4, then pi over 3, 2 pi minus pi over 3, which is 5 pi over 3 plus 2n pi, right? But you need to solve for x, not 2x. So when you divide by 2, pi over 6 plus n pi, or 5 pi over 6 plus n pi, right? Okay, and then write down where n is an integer, right? Okay, so then that's your general solution. Okay, all right, that's it.